From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
The Yellowstone County Jail continues to fill past capacity.
We regularly run 600 inmates a day there.
But plans are in place to make more room.
Alleged crimes can be addressed by getting people in front of a judge very quickly.
We'll tell you about a new deal between the city and county to help solve that issue. Good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning on this Thursday, March 14th. I'm Augusta McDonnell. Yellowstone County commissioners are taking yet another step towards solving the overcrowding problem at the South Billings Jail. Just last week, they accepted a $2 million offer from the city to help build a 30-bed temporary holding facility for those who've committed misdemeanor crimes. Construction won't begin anytime soon. The county first wants to hire a firm to find out if it will be necessary to build a new jail or remodel the current detention center.
They would have to figure out where we are, what they think our population and crime trends would be over the next 20 years at 5, 10, 15, and 20-year intervals. We want to make a data-driven decision. I don't want to just spitball and say we need a jail expansion of X number of beds. I want to have data, and the report will be public.
Right now, the jail has a capacity of 435, but Commissioner Mark Morse says it regularly needs room for up to 600 inmates, and that means people are often let out before they bond out. And new this morning, the Montana State Bobcats men's basketball team is going to the big dance. They defeated the Montana Grizzlies in the Big Sky Conference Championship game last night, 85-70, to punch their ticket to the NCAA tournament. It was a Cinderella run for the Cats. They finished 5th in the conference in the regular season and have an overall record of just 17-17. That was a really big game. Yeah. Miller, really cool to see a Montana team headed to March Madness.
And you got to watch out. Even they're 17-17, but it's those Cinderella teams that sneak up and get you during March Madness. That's why it's so exciting, and good luck to them. Maybe some upsets coming.
Maybe some upsets coming.
How about that? All right.
Cool.
All right, so let's talk about the weather. We are still seeing some snow out there, some very cloudy conditions, but boy, we've got some really nice weather on the way on the back end of this. Early next week, could see some 70s. How about that? Now let's talk temperatures. Yesterday, very seasonal, high getting up to about 46. Probably going to see that again today. Overnight low milder than normal. We got down to about 34. Top gust yesterday of 23 miles an hour. Still going to be somewhat breezy over the course of the next few days. We could see some stronger winds off to our east as we approach the weekend with this backdoor cold front coming in. Dry yesterday. We did see some rain last night, overnight, and the night before, and then a little bit yesterday, but really nothing to talk of in terms of any type of measurement. So for the month, we're kind of in the hole there. For the year, we're pretty much on target. Not even talk about the snow totals. You can see for the season where we should be at this time of the year, we're over 18 inches in the hole. We're going to have to make up 31 inches to even get back to where we should be by the end of the season, folks, and that's just not going to happen. Thank you to El Nino for that. But some areas got some hefty snow yesterday. Livingston, we were thinking 1 to 2 inches. 7 inches. How about that?
Nice.
Red Lodge, yes. And
Good
Red Lodge,
news for
6
those
inches.
ski
So
hills.
there you go. Absolutely could use it. Still a chance we could see some of those snow showers lingering as we go along today, but you guys also are going to see some really nice weather moving forward. Quickly, take a look at temperatures out there. 32 right now here at the airport in Billings. 26 is what it feels like. Winds out of the northeast at about 7 miles an hour. 20s and 30s this morning. A lot of cloud cover, some fog off to our east. Maybe some full-on sunshine later today, and that just shows you what we're looking at as we head into what should be a very nice, the last weekend of winter.
Oh, the last weekend of
Here
winter.
comes spring.
Sunshine.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Miller.
Yeah.
And let's head to the Huntley Project, where school leaders are considering a 4-day week, hoping long weekends will help attract and retain top educators. But as Q2's Andrea Lutz learns, some parents have concerns about finding childcare.
With a daughter in 2nd grade.
Always going. That's how I grew up.
And a preschooler, working mom Stephanie Humphrey is busy.
I like always being busy. Incredibly busy. I don't know how to not be busy.
Her family is just one of many thinking about a proposed 4-day school week, how it could change that busy schedule.
I'm actually not opposed. There's always, no matter what you do, there's going to be pros and cons. The 4-day week would be really nice for teachers especially. My dad was a teacher, and I know that burnout is real.
With teachers in mind, that's exactly the goal for Huntley Superintendent Mark Wandel.
We're just trying to figure out ways to get more applicants.
He says they usually lose good teachers to districts like Billings for more money. So they've tossed around the idea before, but all of that changed last summer when the search was so bleak. They even turned to international candidates.
Actually hired a lady from Kenya and did some conversations, and after talking about where Warden is and our public transportation is basically walk here, and so all of a sudden she ghosted us and the company too.
The Office of Public Instruction says more than 220 schools in districts across the state have adopted a 4-day week. And since the COVID pandemic, the number of schools in Montana operating on a 4-day school week grew by about 55%. Most recently, Park City did it, as well as Miles City. But Huntley is still mulling it over, getting public input, weighing those obstacles.
The difficult part about going to a 4-day week for us will be we'll lose some of those upper level honors courses. But we gain 6 minutes a day in every class period of the course.
Another hitch, childcare on Fridays, something Wandel says he's navigating, something parents like Humphrey can identify with.
I think that's one of the big cons is childcare. It's hard to find good childcare anymore, or affordable childcare is incredibly hard to find.
But in a world so structured, she looks forward to teachers and parents maybe getting more time to recoup from the week.
Well, I think it's just that family time does have that ripple effect into the economy.
In Huntley, Andrea Lutz, MTN News.
Andrea, thank you. Back here in Billings, the search is on for a missing 12-year-old boy. We've been talking about Andy Martinez. Here's his picture all week. He was last seen on February 21st. According to the Billings Police Department, he could be in the Billings area or on the Crow Reservation. Andy is 5'3" tall and weighs about 80 pounds. Police believe he ran away from home, but his family fears it could be something else.
I'm very hopeful. I just hope he's out there. If he's scared, it's okay to come back home, Andy. We want you home. And if you're that someone hiding him, or if you know something and you're not speaking up, you should, because we're worried. Me and his sisters, our auntie, were worried.
Martinez was last seen near Central Park. The family is asking all residents in the area to check their security footage from February 21st. If you have any information, you're asked to contact the Billings Police Department, 657-8200. And new this morning, in a rare bipartisan vote, the House passed a bill that could lead to a nationwide ban of Tik Tok if its China-based owner doesn't sell its U.S. operations. Lawmakers raised concerns that ByteDance's ownership of Tik Tok poses a national security threat because of Chinese laws on intelligence gathering. The bill now goes to the Senate, where its prospects remain unclear. Montana's 2 House members, Ryan Zinke and Matt Rosendale, both supported the Tik Tok bill. It comes as Montana's state-level ban on Tik Tok continues to make its way through the federal court system. MTN's Jonathan Ambarian has a look at what's next.
Almost a year ago, the Montana legislature passed a bill that would ban Tik Tok from operating within the state. It's currently on hold as the state appeals a federal judge's decision. But like the bill making its way through the U.S. House right now, Montana's ban could be void if Tik Tok is sold. Senate Bill 419 passed during the 2023 legislative session, prohibiting the app from doing business in Montana and app stores from offering it in the state. Supporters said they wanted to address concerns that the app could expose Montanans' data to China. But SB 419 never took effect. TikTok and a group of Montana content creators who use the app sued in federal court, saying the bill violated First Amendment rights and overstepped on the federal government's authority in foreign policy. A district judge put an injunction on the bill in November. Attorney General Austin Knudsen has asked the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals to overturn that decision. And in a filing earlier this month, he cited broad bipartisan concern about TikTok's data practices as a justification for the state's actions. Plaintiffs have until April 29th to make their initial court filing in the appeal. TikTok has denied any claims that their users' data is at risk. The bill that passed the U.S. House Wednesday would give the app's parent company 6 months to sell it to someone not based in a foreign adversary country before a ban takes effect. If a sale does happen, SB 419 also includes a provision that would invalidate it. On Wednesday, Governor Greg Gianforte said the federal government was following Montana's lead in taking action against TikTok. Indications are that the federal bill won't pass through the Senate as quickly as the House. On Wednesday, the offices of Senators Steve Daines and John Tester both said that they'll be reviewing the bill as it makes its way into their chamber. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
Jonathan, thank you. We'll continue to follow that case. And a judge in Fulton County, Georgia, dismissed several charges against former President Donald Trump. The judge threw out charges that accused Trump and several co-defendants of pressuring public officers to violate their oaths as part of an effort to overturn the 2020 election. The move is considered a legal setback for prosecutors, but Trump still faces other charges in this same case. Now on to the war in Gaza. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the U.S. is in near constant ceasefire talks with negotiators. They're all in the Middle East as countries and humanitarian organizations try to get more aid into that region. Meanwhile, Israel says it plans to direct Palestinians to safety ahead of a planned offensive. CBS's Jared Hill has more.
The firefight continues in Gaza. The Israeli military released this video it said shows troops on the ground in the southern part of the region and airstrikes on what it says was a Hamas operations unit. All the while, aid for the millions starving in Gaza continues to fly in from around the world.
There's movement, and it's positive, but it remains insufficient.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the U.S. is urging Israel to open more access points into Gaza as they work with Egypt and Qatar on a ceasefire.
There's a very strong proposal on the table right now. The question is, will Hamas take it? Does Hamas want to end the suffering that it's provoked? 1,200 people, mostly civilians, were killed in Hamas's October 7th attack in southern Israel. Around 250 hostages taken. Since then, Israel's offensive has killed more than 31,000 Palestinians, according to Gaza health officials. In the U.S., protesters clogged part of San Francisco International Airport Wednesday, calling for an end to the fighting.
Our intention is to use civil disobedience, nonviolence, in order to have our elected officials pay attention.
Back in Gaza, as the Israeli military prepares its offensive to the southernmost town of Rafah, plans to push the 1.4 million displaced Palestinians towards so-called humanitarian islands in the center of the territory are ramping up. Jared Hill, CBS News.
And overnight, Delta Airlines announced it would resume flights to Israel starting in June, becoming the second major U.S. carrier to do so since Hamas's October 7th attack. United Airlines resumed flights earlier this month. Now back here in Billings, they did it. Zoo Montana is now a top 10 zoo in the nation, according to USA Today's 10 Best Reader's Choice Awards. Part of that is big thanks to everybody who voted. We had director Jeff Ewelts on the show 2 weeks ago. He was so excited about the possibility of the zoo cracking the top 10, and he thanked everybody who had voted up to that point. Yesterday, he told Q2, for a small zoo like us, this is a huge deal. Zoo Montana is number 10 on the list. Number 1 was Omaha, Nebraska Zoo and Aquarium. So congratulations. We are, of course, big fans of Zoo Montana.